Hello, welcome to Football League tonight, taking care of league business rather than fleeting cup glory this evening.
Yes, we have action from 19 matches in all three divisions of the Sky Bet Football League. And Barnsley head coach Lee Johnson joins us from one of them. His side were at Swindon in search of a sixth straight win. We'll show you what happened a bit later on. Alongside him, the former Charlton and Huddersfield manager Chris Powell. Here's what's coming up.
In the battle to beat the drop in the Championship, Charlton and Rotherham need to find points from somewhere.
Brilliant save, Henderson.
In Goal Rush, there's the spectacular. And the super subs.
Including the 46-year-old goalkeeper, making his first appearance in the Football League in 14 years.
Yeah, hope for all of us, eh? Let's get going and start with a game between Rotherham, hovering just a point above the bottom three, and second bottom Charlton. Neil Redfern has brought in 6 players so far in the January transfer window. Chris Burke, the winger on loan from Nottingham Forest, was the only one, though, to make the starting 11.
Charlton forward Igor Vitakele made a third successive start after an injury-plagued year that's been so bad that he considered quitting the game altogether. Paul Walker is your commentator at the New York Stadium.
Rotherham United, 5 home wins this season, 2 draws, 7 defeats, but they have got it together here of late. Beat Brighton in their last home game and also seen off Hull City as well, so they've shown they can mix it with the teams at the top end of the table. But can't gather it away by Jackson. McKeenock's flick, pounced on by Bergdich, an opportunity for Charlton to get forward here. It'll run here to McKeenock! Oh, what a goal! What a start for Charlton! Recalled to the side, and the Great Dane has provided the breakthrough. It's not often these days that Charlton have something to cheer, but they have now. The game less than 4 minutes old, and Simon McKeenock gives Charlton the lead. It's a brilliant finish into the corner. Side foots it beyond Lee Camp. Well, plenty for Neil Redfern to contemplate in the first 10 minutes or so in this. His team a goal down. Cousins. Lifted long by Lennon. Away by Mattock. So good flick on there from Danny Ward. Might break for Grant Ward. Here's Paul Green. Danny Ward, man over on the right-hand side. It's Burke. Is this the leveller? Oh, you bet it is! On his home debut, Chris Burke levels the scores at the New York Stadium. Charlton's lead lasted only 6 minutes. And the Championship's leakiest defence has been breached again. Jose Riga, reappointed earlier this month. He had a great record, actually, when he came in last time to save Charlton from the drop. 24 points from 16 matches. Only Leicester City, during that run, picked up more points than Charlton did, and they need that kind of run again. Cousins for Charlton. Good ball into Goodmanson. Has he got the legs to beat Broadfoot? He has. Vetakele's in the middle for him! He has got his goal! Igor Vetakele with his first of the season. Charlton back in front in the final minute of the first half. Well, he's been threatening to do this, Vetakele. He has been a nuisance. Great run from Goodmanson, terrific ball, and Vetakele couldn't miss. Charlton back in front, and a game they really have to win. Right in front of the Charlton fans as well. Perhaps playing away from home is helping this Charlton team, given all the off-field things that have been going on, the protests against the owner, Roland de Châtelet. Perhaps it's enabled them to play with a bit more freedom, but it's Rotherham playing with freedom here. It's Danny Ward. Gonna try and bend one! Oh, good save! Oh, we were right behind that one. That was flying into the far corner, but Stephen Henderson got across quickly. gone loose, and this is Smallwood. It's a good ball out wide to Mattock. 4 red shirts to aim at in the middle. Can he find one of them? It's Clark Harris, it's Becchio! Oh, what a chance that is. It rather bounced up at him, but it's got to go down as a good chance. McKeenock. Vetekele managed to roll Rawson, and he's drawn the foul out of the Rotherham defender as well. How big a moment will this be for Charlton? It's Jackson. It's a good save from Lee Camp, managing to tip it away to safety. Well, he got everything right here, the Charlton captain, over the wall. It's bending just under the bar, and Camp able to deal with it. Goodmanson's corner. McKeenock's header! He's got his second of the day! Huge goal for Charlton! Massive goal! The value of it cannot be underestimated. It gives Jose Riga's men a 2-goal cushion. Lofted long, Johnson Clark Harris going after it. He's got great pace, this young man, and he's got the pace to beat Teixeira. He goes down in the box, and it's a penalty. It's a game that's had plenty of twists and turns, and there's another one. Rotherham handed a route back into the match just 3 minutes after Charlton went 3-1 ahead. From a Rotherham point of view, this needs to go in. It's Clark Harris, and he's missed. It's an awful penalty. It is a terrible strike. Well, it's got shades of Chris Waddle. No other way to describe it. That is a poorer penalty as you'll ever see. Well, we've seen a lot of protests in recent weeks down at the Valley. They might not be protesting with their voices today, but still making their feelings known. The Charlton fans about the owner, Roland de Châtelet, and Catrian Meyer, who also is part of the top brass at the Valley. Sent in by Shinnie. Header, a goal. Brilliant save, Henderson. To deny Becchio, I think it was. What a save. Great header from Becchio. And look how well Henderson does to get down low. Goodmanson again. Guchanachad. Goodmanson. Might fancy going for a fourth here. Pushed on to Lookman. This to really put the icing on the cake. And the young man has done it. A day to remember for Charlton. A day to remember for young Ademola Lookman. 4 goals away from home for Charlton Athletic. And they have secured an almighty win. Goodmanson knocks the ball on, and the young man does brilliantly. Sticks it in the corner, cool as you like. Well, they'll not forget this in a hurry. It puts Charlton right back into the survival mix.
It seems to be a relationship that just works. Why do you think that is?
It's too early to be sure that it worked. But, you know, they know one thing, that I will do everything. I'm happy for the winning of today, but I'm thinking on the future and to be able to achieve what I'm looking for. I think it's a normal, natural relation based, of course, on a success story last time. And I want to try to write the same story this time.
You know, penalties are black and white. If they finish in the back of net, it's a good penalty. If it's saved and missed, then it's a bad penalty. And obviously at that point in time, it maybe would have done. You know, it would have been interesting to see how Charlton had coped with it. But you know, we've shown mental toughness in games we've had like this before against people like Bolton and Bristol City and come out on top. But today, you know, we looked short of that.
A first win in 12, first under Jose Riga as well since he returned. Chris Powell, last time you were in here, it was all doom, gloom and protests. A lot better today. They looked a lot more like a team today, I thought, Charlton.
They did, and a huge result for them, especially with what's been going on off the field. Games like this, you have to get your wins against teams in and around you. So for them to go to Rotherham, to score 4 goals, gets their goal difference down, but in light of what's been happening, they just need a bit of stability. And obviously wins will always change the mindset of fans, without a doubt, and the fans will be mightily happy with what's happened today.
Well, 2 of those 4 goals came from McKeenock. I don't know what you make of him, but he divides opinion, I think, a bit amongst fans.
He has done at Charlton, because I think they expected more from him. But a good finish there today. He's a player, like you say, has divided opinions, but if he can carry on like this in the second half of the season, he'll win them all over for sure. And this header's a good header, good movement. He's 6'8", so you want him to dominate in both boxes, but especially in the opposing box, you want him to come up with goals like that. And if he does that, they'll definitely win games more often than not.
The club communicated a few things during the week coming out of a fans forum, amongst them that Riga, they think, has the knowledge and experience to get the club out of trouble. On Roland Duchâtelet, well, he might not go to the games, but he sees them all, he's invested money, so he's not walking away. The fans might not be behind the hierarchy, they are behind the team, and we saw at the end of the game as well, the team very much with the fans. They went to thank them to try and stick together, I guess.
Yeah, well, the club's always been built on that, the relationship between the fans and the team, and they've obviously been very unhappy recently. But if they put in performances like that, Jose knows the league, which is important. I think the people and managers that have been in before, previously, didn't know the league. He knows the league. He's been, even though it was half a season, he knew exactly what they needed to stay up, and they're going to have to do that again.
He knows the league, he knows the club as well, he knows the expectation of the fans, which haven't been met because they have been on this poor run of form. How difficult is it for them to go in, Lee, and him and his staff to go in and change this losing mentality and pick the players up again?
Well, I think obviously today's a massive catalyst for that, isn't it? And if you can get that feeling and the spirit back amongst the fans and the players, then you can go and win games. And obviously it's a great win for them today. A good away win with 4 goals can only stand them in good stead to go on a little run.
Absolutely, and as you say, maintaining that relationship with the supporters is crucial, as we saw them doing towards the end of the game. Coming up next, we'll have 2 more games from the Championship, including Birmingham setting their sights on the top 6, while Cardiff bid to banish the Blues after selling their top striker. Hello, welcome back to Football League Tonight. Now, it's been hard to predict what Huddersfield will do. They've blown hot and cold in the 12 games since appointing David Wagner.
Well, today they were up against Cardiff, who's already lost Kenwyne Jones during the January window. They also sold Joe Mason to Wolves for around about £3 million this week for financial fair play reasons.
If Cardiff were concerned about a lack of goals following the departure of one of their top scorers, they needn't have worried. This performance oozed the confidence that one defeat in 5 in the league can bring, highlighted by Peter Whittingham's finish. Huddersfield's recent league form has also been impressive, and their response was immediate. It came via the boot of their top scorer, Nahki Wells, goal number 11 of the campaign for him. Cardiff were hunting back-to-back away wins for the first time this season, and when Fabio brought a touch of Brazil to Yorkshire as he and Sammy Amiobi combined, there was Lex Immers with his first goal for the club. The Dutchman's on loan from Feyenoord and became the villain of the piece as far as Huddersfield were concerned when he appeared to handle in the area. Mind you, Cardiff were also left feeling a little sorry for themselves when they thought they might have extended their lead. Joe Rawls won't hit too many better, but Jed Steer was equal to it. But there was nothing the Huddersfield keeper could do about the free kick from Whittingham that made certain the points would be heading back to Wales. The home side did at least have the satisfaction of having the final word, courtesy of a late Harry Bunn effort. But 3 points keep Cardiff very much in touch with the playoff picture.
Well, Lee, Cardiff find themselves in such a difficult situation where they're trying to keep hold of a player, but for financial reasons, he has to go because it puts them in a better position at the end of the season of having their embargo lifted. It's such a tricky position for a manager to be in, for Russell Slade to be in, to have a player that he wants to keep, that has a chance of getting them promoted to the Premier League, of making the money, but right now, they need the cash.
Yeah, of course, and that's always difficult, isn't it? Because if you're pulling a top player out of your side, you've got to find that replacement. But
I think Russell's obviously a good manager. They're in a good position in the league, and they've got a decent squad as it is. So I'm sure that there'll be somebody else that's ready to come in and produce the same sort of quality as the players they lose.
Well, we saw that today as well, Chris. I mean, we saw that they have the quality to step up and fill that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter Whittingham is a player much admired at Aston Villa. His quality...
What a free kick that
shown
is.
there, yeah, absolutely. I mean, his left foot is a wand. And a player like
Shades of
him...
Chris Powell, that.
Maybe not. But he's going to be a key player for them moving forward. They want to get back to the Premier League. They've tasted it before. And Russell has been entrusted with trying to get them back. And I'm sure, hopefully, they'll do that.
Yeah, and hopefully be in the playoffs for them at the end of the season as well.
Let's see some more action, shall we? Let's pop off to Ashton Gate next. Bristol City. Well, they're yet to appoint a new manager. John Pemberton, therefore, remains in caretaker charge. They have recruited some players, though, most notably, I guess, forward Lee Tomlin from Bournemouth.
Well, they face Birmingham, who've added Diego Fabrini from Middlesbrough for £1.5 million. And Ryan Shotton's come in on loan from Derby.
A return to the playoff places beckon for Birmingham, seeking a third successive win, and on a ground where they always seem to do well. But for once at Ashton Gate, they were under the cosh. Thomas Kuszczak needing to make a smart stop from Marlon Pack as the strugglers dominated the first half. Bristol City hadn't beaten the Blues for more than 22 years, losing the last 4 against them on their own patch. So when Lee Tomlin tumbled over Paul Caddis's trailing leg, it seemed their luck had changed. Fleetingly, referee Robert Lewis dished out a yellow card to a debutant for diving. Gary Rowett's men finally began to make an impression after the break, with John Terrell's replacement Jacques Magoma doing his best to inspire his teammates. A dazzling run equalled by Richard O'Donnell's acrobatics, the save of the match. The Robins' target was to escape the bottom 3. For that, they'd need maximum points, but Luke Freeman's cross didn't get the decisive touch it deserved. The draw enough for Birmingham to oust Sheffield Wednesday from the top 6.
It's another good clean sheet, another good point, but with a little more quality in the final third, I think we would have won the game, and that was probably the one thing that was lacking.
We're staying in the games now, and we're looking like possibly we could win, you know, 1 or 2 games. We've just got to now get that finishing touch, but, you know, that's why strikers, probably you live and die by your strikers as a manager.
Here's the picture then. That draw, not enough to see Bristol City climb out of the relegation zone, although they are now level on points with Rotherham. Charlton picked up their first league win in 12 to move a point away from safety. Huddersfield stay 17th after their defeat against Cardiff.
At the other end of the table, well, none of the top 5 were in league action today. Birmingham City's draw at Ashton Gate means that they're now in the final playoff spot at the expense of Sheffield Wednesday, and Cardiff stay in 9th.
Lee, Bristol City didn't win today. From what I saw, they had quite a decent performance. Awful home record, though. Your former side, do you think they have enough to stay up?
I do, yeah, I genuinely do. I think they've made some really good acquisitions in this window already. I think they've looked at a couple in our division that are good players, and if they manage to get them in, that'll add quality as well. And I think that they've still got spirit, and I think while you've got spirit, the performances have been good. OK, you heard sort of John talking there about the finishes have not quite been there, but that will come. I think once they get sort of 1 or 2 wins away and the strikers start tucking them in, then I've no doubt they'll surge up the league.
And a word, Chris, on one of the other big headlines, I suppose, in the Championship over the last few hours. Jordan Rhodes to Middlesbrough from Blackburn. Looks like that's going to be a £9 million move. Paul Lambert basically saying, well, we don't want him to go, but we need that money to rebuild the club. How good is this guy? Because that's a lot of money for the Championship.
Well, I would say Middlesbrough almost guaranteeing themselves promotion with signing him. He's so good at this level. His record is 1-2 at Huddersfield and at Blackburn. He's just a natural finisher, not overly quick, but very smart in the box, knows and senses where the ball's going to be. And that, for any strikers, Lee will tell you, if you've got one of those in your side, you're going to get goals. And I would feel Middlesbrough will go up with signing Jordan Rhodes.
Yeah, extraordinary stats that Jordan Rhodes has. Middlesbrough haven't had a striker who can score more than 20 goals a season since Bernie Slaven, which was over 25 years ago. Ask your mum and dad. Now, here's a chance to win big in our competition.
We all know that at times our Sky Bet Football League teams can make us sweat. Well, how do you fancy kicking off the new year with a chance to win a football experience that will really get the heart racing, courtesy of XL Bubble Football? Well, here's your chance to do just that. You and 9 mates could be kitted out in bubble suits, ready to enjoy an hour's game time, with the chance to put your ball skills to the test at a UK venue near you. And that's not all. We'll also throw in £500 for some post-match celebrations. So if this sounds like a chance that you can't miss, text football to 65515 or post your name and phone number to football10, PO Box 7557, Derby, DE1 0NP. Entrance must be 18 or over. Dates subject to availability. Text costs £1.50 plus one message at standard network rate. Lines close at midday on the date shown on screen and 3 days later for postal entries. The rules, go to channel5.com/win. Good luck. Great fun, that bubble football. Did it on a stag do. Absolutely brutal, though. Stay with us for Goal Rush from Leagues 1 and 2 coming next. This time last year, he was scoring the goals that knocked Chelsea out of the FA Cup. John Stead was still in the mood for Notts County today. Welcome back to Football League tonight and Goal Rush from Sky Bet Leagues 1 and 2. Where better to start than with Lee Johnson's Barnsley, currently the form team in League 1, form team in all the leagues after a pretty impressive turnaround in results. Sorry to remind you, though, Barnsley were in some bother just a few months ago. Yeah, in October and November, they had 8 straight defeats. They scored just 7 goals and had an overall points haul of just 4 from 33. And they dropped from 8th to rock bottom of League 1. But moving quickly on, since then, they have clicked. Lee's side have won 6 out of 7, including the last 5 in a row. They've doubled their points and they started the day just 7 points off the playoff positions. So could they make it 6 out of 6 at Swindon?
A trip to the county ground promised to provide a real test to Barnsley's sky-high confidence. But the division's form team started well, with Marley Watkins forcing an early save from Lawrence Vigouroux. Swindon had gone into the game in decent form themselves, collecting 7 points from their previous 3 matches. Fabien Robert saw his clever lob fly just over the crossbar, and the tone had been set for a match where there was little to separate the sides. A couple of minutes later, Alfie Mawson came even closer for Barnsley after an eye-catching piece of skill. Just 2 months after propping up the table, Barnsley knew a victory would take them into the top half, and they continued to press forward, with Conor Hourihane denied by the feet of Vigouroux. Into the second half, Swindon had the chance to go ahead when Jonathan Abika controlled the ball on his knee and then had his shot turned away by Adam Davis. And with just a couple of minutes left, Barnsley got the all-important goal. Josh Scowen's cross turned in by Sam Winnell for his 9th goal in his last 6 league games. Alongside their impressive league form, Barnsley have their eyes on a trip to Wembley. They play the second leg of their Johnson's Paint Trophy Northern final this week, currently level at 1-1 with Fleetwood. They'll go into that match full of confidence. Yasser Kassim headed just wide with the last chance of the game in the closing moments, and it finished 1-0 to Barnsley.
Well, it did finish 1-0 to Barnsley, but you made us wait for it this time, Lee. What about the game? Tell us about that.
It's a good game for us. Obviously, it's a really difficult place to go, Swindon, because of the brand of football that they play. And you've really got to go and set up with a good plan and make sure all the players administer that plan. And they did, to be fair. I think we had 10 shots on goal in the first half to their 1. And in the second half, we was nice and strong, nice and solid, and managed to get the goal at the end from an informed striker.
Yeah, the informed striker being Sam Winnell, who is just in fantastic form at the moment. He's got 15 goals so far this season. Now, look, he's been in the news this week, not just because he's scored today, but also because of his great scoring record, and also because of interest from Leeds United. What's the position that Barnsley are in with Sam Winnell?
Well, I think the position is that he's a fantastic player, and of course he's got a value, but we want to keep him if possible because he's got great value to us because of his goals. He's a good lad, he lives for scoring goals, and he's a very, very good player.
By value, you mean price, so what's his price tag then?
Well, I think that everybody, of course, at this level has got a price tag, but by the same token, we're not in the business particularly of selling our best players, and he's so in form at the moment that there's bound to be interest, and all we can do is keep him playing well.
But if Leeds gave you £1 million, would you sell him to Leeds?
I don't know, mate. To be honest, I'm the head coach. I hide behind the title.
And we don't expect you to do your negotiating on television either. That's kind of done in the boardrooms. But how far off are they?
It's funny because if you look at the recent sort of transfer activity and Connor Washington going for sort of 2.5 million, and Sam scored more goals. And not only that, he scored more goals this sort of calendar year. He's a year older. So you know, it's very difficult to work out a price and a value on somebody when they're young and very much in form.
And especially when it's a player that you actually want to keep.
Yeah, and the fans love him, but you know, it's difficult because everybody's got a different agenda. And what we want to do is we've got a massive game on Thursday, and we really must focus on doing the very best we can to get a result in that.
And we know that he's enjoying his football at Barnsley. He tweeted today to say the hairs were standing up on the back of his neck when he scored that winner. So clearly enjoying his time at Barnsley. Like you said, everybody's got a value. It's just two clubs need to reach a value if the deal
He's watching tonight as well, so Sam, you can tell us what you think your value is, if you like. Right, let's move on. 5 of the top 6 in Sky Bet League One were in action today. Leaders Burton were at Rochdale, who were looking to bounce back from a 6-1 defeat by Leeds Barnsley last weekend.
Well, Nigel Clough's side arrived at Scotland top of the division again after a midweek win over Peterborough.
Burton may have been back on top of the pile, but Nigel Clough warned pre-match you never quite know what to expect from Rochdale. Prophetic words, Callum Camps starting Dale's rehabilitation from the battering at Barnsley. The first goal Albion had conceded on their travels since November, and there was soon a second in the offing, Ian Henderson nipping ahead of John Mousinho, who wasn't impressed to see the striker go to ground, then pick himself up to take the penalty. That spelt the end of Burton's attempt to record 5 successive away wins in the Football League for the first time. Clough, the first to admit their consolation goal, superbly taken by Lucas Akins, was as much as his pace setters deserved.
Burton's defeat meant a win for Gillingham would have sent them top of the pile, but they left the Lancashire coast full of if-onlys, which was also the story of Jack Redshaw's long-range effort. He'd been hoping to end a goal drought that stretched right back to Halloween, and a defensive horror show in the Gillingham area meant he would eventually get his wish. The visitors couldn't clear their lines, and when Max Amer's challenge on Mark Yates was deemed too strong, Redshaw had his chance from the penalty spot, and he took it. That said, Amer might have made amends by salvaging a point for his side, but Tom Aldred rode to the rescue for Blackpool, who are now unbeaten in their last 4 matches.
Wigan haven't lost a League One match since before Christmas, the kind of consistency which is keeping them in touch with the top 3. And from the 7th minute, there was little doubt they'd continue that run against Port Vale. Will Grigg claimed the goal, despite initial reports suggesting it went in off defender Richard Duffy, and that was to become significant later. Port Vale's hopes of getting back into the game were effectively ended when Ryan McGivern pulled down Grigg as he raced into the penalty area. Referee Darren Drysdale produced a red card, and despite McGivern's protests, Vale would have to play more than half the match with 10 men. Grigg made it 2-0 from the spot, and there was just 1 more goal in the second half. Wigan had scored 3 times in each of their previous 3 home games, and they repeated the trick here. Grigg taking his total for the season to 14. And any doubts over the hat-trick were surely ended by the fact he took home the match ball.
Our performances are really high and we're getting results from that, but we know there's still a long way to go. There's still a lot of improvement in the squad, both individually and collectively, and we'll keep working hard to try and achieve those heights.
Scunthorpe say they're yet to draw up a shortlist for their new manager and are relaxed about sticking with caretakers Nicky Dawes and Andy Dawson. They were in front here as Tom Hopper scored unmarked. He's been missing with a shoulder problem, but that was his 3rd in 3 games. After an injury to one of the referee's assistants, up steps 4th official Wayne Barrett. The Iron almost doubled their lead when Coventry's Stephen Huntscough found Luke Williams, but was denied. The Scunthorpe caretakers have a good record so far, played one, won one, and they doubled their lead when Murray Wallace, on loan from Huddersfield, scored with a low header. That's his first goal since September. Coventry's James Maddison has apparently been catching the eye of the likes of Liverpool and Tottenham. 4 minutes from time, he was brought down in the box by Jamie Ness. It had been feared top scorer Adam Armstrong wouldn't be fit after slipping on ice in training, but he stepped up to pull City back into this game. 17 goals for the Newcastle loanee. The comeback was over 2 minutes later when Roman Vancelot was shown a second yellow for this foul on Ness. Scunthorpe's caretakers are now 2 from 2. Millwall's hopes of increasing their grip on a playoff spot hinged on seeing off a Crewe side which hadn't won for more than 2 months. So after a goalless first half, this was a turn-up for the books. George Cooper brought down by Jordan Archer, and Brad Inman eyeing up his 4th goal in as many matches. That penalty set the pattern for the rest of the match. 5 minutes later, referee Chris Kavanagh found in Millwall's favour, spotting a shove on Byron Webster and giving the Lions' own man in form, Lee Gregory, a chance to stretch his hot streak. Dispatched with the conviction you'd expect from a player who now boasted 5 goals in his last 4 league appearances. And there was the promise of more to come as Millwall pushed for a winner. Just 3 minutes remaining when the home side's pressure paid off, with Oliver Turton judged to have handled. Up stepped Gregory, intent on rounding off his memorable January in style, only to show he's not infallible, leaving the Londoners frustrated.
To be awarded a penalty right at the end, you think, here we go, the boy scored already. No blame attached to Lee. He's took some good, important penalties for us this year, and he continued to take them. But we're talking small margins in football, and that cost us today.
Bradford are one of the best defensively in the division, yet one of the worst in terms of goals scored. So a familiar tale started to unfold when Billy Knott was denied. The home side thought they'd made the breakthrough thanks to Rory McArdle's header, but not so, according to the referee. That gave Fleetwood all the encouragement they required as they showed the home side how to finish. Jamil Matt with his first goal since before Christmas. Phil Parkinson's side had only managed 12 goals at home all season, so imagine the collective sigh of relief when the Bantams faithful finally had something to cheer, as James Hansen scored in the league for the first time since early November. A point seemed the best the home side could hope for until Steve Davis made up for lost time. Injuries and bad luck have plagued his career since his arrival last summer. So with the match in added time and Wes Thomas hitting the bar, the stage was set for his first goal for the club, and rarely has a tap-in felt better.
So that result means that Fleetwood missed the opportunity to climb out of the relegation places. Colchester were in FA Cup action, so they stayed bottom, and they're now a point behind Crewe.
At the other end, here we go. The top 2, Burton and Gillingham, both lost and missed out, therefore, on the chance to pull away from third-place Walsall. Wigan had a great day, taking advantage with their win over Port Vale and closing the gap on the Saddlers to just a point. Coventry have now lost 3 in a row. They stay 5th, and Millwall complete the playoff places. Barnsley's 6th straight league win sees them move into the top half of the table for the first time since September. So a bit of a dodgy day for the teams at the top, apart from Wigan. Barnsley going brilliantly. The form team in every league now, 6 on the spin, 4 away league wins in a row. I think that's the best away run in 20 years. Very, very handily placed. What is the expectation now, realistically?
I think the expectation is to hopefully continue on a good run, and we're 5 points now off the playoffs. We're certainly looking up. We've got away from the bottom group, so it means that we're really looking into that playoff spot. And we know that with our sort of best 11 to 14 players that we can really compete in this division. And it was always going to take a bit of time because of the summer that we really had to turn everything round. But we had a pretty good recruitment plan come sort of early December, signed some really good players. And it's no fluke that we've turned our form around and now we're looking up the way.
How much does that help you that you have managed to turn the form around, that the players have been through poor form and come out the other end?
I think it's massive for a group like we've got. I think at the start of the season it was the youngest of all the divisions, and they needed to learn on the job. We didn't have too many that had genuine league experience, and certainly not League One, but all talented players. And I think we stuck together as a club, which was important. We made sure that we was coming in fresh and bright every day, even when we had 8 losses on the spin, as you so kindly keep reminding me.
You're welcome.
But it's important that we've all come through it, and we do certainly look like a different beast now, probably due to a bit of everything, adding a couple of players, the players getting that experience, and that will stand us in good stead now, because you would think that now they've had that experience, that won't happen again.
Just quickly, Chris, who do you fancy for promotion from this league?
You know what it takes. You've got Charlton out of this league.
Yes, and I think what's key with any side, especially in League One, is the momentum. And Barnsley have certainly got that now. But I think Wigan look quite dangerous now. And they have bounced back from what's happened to them last year. So I think the bottom 2 places in the top 6 are up for grabs. I think the top 4 will be in the mix-up at the end.
All right, so 2 places up for grabs. Stay with us for all the League 2 action coming up next, including a 46-year-old goalkeeper who frustrated promotion-chasing Plymouth.
Welcome back to Football League tonight on Channel 5. Sky Bet League 2 then next, where Plymouth had the opportunity to reclaim top spot from Northampton. They had the weekend off.
Well, their opponents, Wycombe, arrived at Home Park on the back of 3 successive defeats without even scoring.
Alongside the pursuit of top spot, Plymouth had their eyes on a league double over Wycombe, but they had the worst possible start as Gozi Agwu gave the away side a 3rd-minute lead. But the story at Home Park wasn't about the goal scorer. Instead, it was a goalkeeper who stole the show. When Alex Lynch was injured after 15 minutes, substitute Barry Richardson pulled on his gloves and made his first Football League appearance for any club since 2002, at the age of 46. Richardson's main job is to coach the Wycombe keepers, but he went on to show he can still do it himself, keeping an impressive clean sheet. Wycombe could even have scored again through Matt Bloomfield, but Plymouth were the team who finished the game frustrated.
They came to stop us playing, they came to waste time, and you know, from my point of view, we should have really taken advantage of that. We've had plenty of opportunities to score today and not taken them.
People will say we came here to disrupt and be a bit bitty, and when you've got a 46-year-old goalkeeper in the goals, you know, we'll do anything we can to keep the ball away from him and get the result we can.
Not quite Storm Gertrude, but still on the damp side at the Wham Stadium as both sides look to press home their playoff claims. Accrington with the chance to take the lead through Shane McCartan. Only Plymouth have won more games on the road than Bristol Rovers. Rory Gaffney's header was wide. They'll need to be more clinical against other promotion hopefuls in coming weeks. Accrington needed to convert some of their games in hand, and Sean McConville, trying to find his teammates, found the net. He signed a new deal with Stanley this week for the next 2 seasons. Matt Crooks' future, though, lies away from Accrington after signing a pre-contract with Rangers. Seemed easier to score here, but his current side move up to 5th with up to 4 games in hand.
If we can beat a team like Bristol Rovers today, we should be able to beat anybody. That doesn't always pan out, but, you know, we've got nothing to fear. We've got good players and we've got a good, strong squad.
A first battle of wits as bosses between 2 old sparring partners on the pitch, Kevin Nolan and Sean Derry. A mistake like Fraser Shaw's would drive any manager mad, allowing Ben Williamson to give Derry's Cambridge the lead. Just the boost the U's required after losing their main marksman Barry Corr for the rest of the season after a knee operation. And Williamson continued to cause more than his fair share of mayhem, superbly doubling the advantage. Kitted up on the sidelines, ready to attempt a rescue, Nolan bided his time, initially sending on Armand Nondouye instead. An inspired choice. Inside 3 minutes of his arrival, his first goal for the club put Orient back in touch. But they simply couldn't find a way to keep Williamson quiet as he struck up an instant understanding with Jimmy Spencer. Just released by Notts County, the new boys secured Cambridge's first win in 5.
Yeovil travelled to AFC Wimbledon looking for a first away league win for 10 matches, but there wasn't much optimism among their fans early on when David Fitzpatrick finished off an excellent move from the home side to score his first goal for the club. But this was a game where predicting the way things would unfold was a tricky job. Yeovil levelled things up when Jack Compton was given far too much time and space just outside the penalty area and made the most of his chance. Wimbledon's hopes of stretching their winning run to 5 matches were back on course, though, when Tom Elliott ran away from the Yeovil defence before producing an emphatic finish. 2-1, and there was one more goal to come before half-time. A second Yeovil equaliser from Compton, but this time in bizarre circumstances. Compton's reaction seemed to be confirmation that he hadn't meant it. But with or without moments of good fortune, Yeovil's league form has certainly been improving. A couple of home wins earlier this month boosted their confidence, and when Kevin Dawson was pulled back by Callum Kennedy, Compton had the chance to complete his hat-trick, the first for a Yeovil player since March 2011.
Mansfield boss Adam Murray admitted he's not comfortable with Route 1, though the long ball almost paid dividends for Matt Green, but for a fine stop from Callum Preston. It's Mansfield's away form that's kept them in touch with the playoff places. On the hour, a corner whipped in by Mal Benning found Chris Beardsley to score his first goal of this campaign. Mansfield owner John Radford says the club's in its best position at this stage of the season in 12 years. James Baxendale would have doubled their lead. Preston again on hand to save Crawley. Chances were rare for Mark Yates' side as they fought to avoid a third straight defeat. Sonny Bradley's header the closest they came. A nervy finish for the Stags. In the 90th minute, Green picked up a ridiculous second yellow, but his teammates hung on and move into the playoff places.
Who do you fancy to win it then? They are the Sky Bet League 2 odds for the title. Northampton, 6-4 favourites. Oxford, second best, 5-2. Then you're looking at Plymouth, Portsmouth, Accrington, or Bristol Rovers, a 33-1 shot.
Go on then, Lee, who's your pick?
Yeovil. My mate Darren Way.
Yeah, I'll check the maths on that one.
Yeah, I think, it'll be a long way to come. I think, for me, Oxford are the side that have got that real quality, got a great balance.
And Chris?
As well.
I was going to say Oxford, but now I'll say Northampton.
All right. We nearly had a clean sweep, nearly. Thanks very much, Lee. Thanks very much, Chris, for coming in to join us here on Football League tonight. We're going to go on to the bottom of League 2 now, and York have managed just one win in the 10 games since Jackie McNamara replaced Russ Wilcox as manager.
And today, well, they were up against Teddy Sheringham's Stevenage, who were without a win in their last 7.
York started the day 3 points adrift at the foot of the table, and although it's not panic stations yet, a win would be mighty welcome. So Kenny McAvoy timed his first goal for the club to perfection. Speaking of perfect finishes, Stevenage's equaliser is definitely a contender for goal of the day. Keith Keane with a wonder strike. The day, though, was destined to have a happy ending for the home side and provide just a second win for manager Jackie McNamara. Danny Galbraith also opening his York City account in injury time to close the gap on the teams above them.
Morecambe is certainly a bogey team for Newport. The Exiles have never managed as much as a point against them, but they were in front within the first minute with a simple goal for Scott Bowden. Jim Bentley branded Morecambe's late defeat by Mansfield this week a sackable performance and wanted his side to bang down walls to make amends. Kevin Ellison's header was closest in the first half. On the hour, it was Sean Miller who heeded his manager's call with this amazing strike. 5 in his last 6 games, the Shrimps are yet to lose this season when Miller scores. But less than 10 minutes later, that run came to an end. Bowden scoring his 10th of the season from an Alex Rodman cross. Newport are 7 points clear of the drop zone, having played 1 game more.
The 690-mile round trip from Exeter to the northeast isn't for the faint-hearted, but those who made it enjoyed it. Tom McCready fired a warning shot across Hartlepool bows before Paul Tisdale's side defied the fatigue of a 7th match of the month to take the lead. Lee Holmes did the hard graft before picking out Alex Nichols for his 7th of the season. Hartlepool's enthusiasm to try and find a way back ultimately proved their undoing as they tried to improve a run of only 1 win since mid-November. But in surrendering possession to Nichols, they were to seal their fate. Joel Grant's effort doing more than enough, a bit like his teammates.
Notts County's win at Crawley a fortnight ago was their first on the road since the opening weekend. Isaiah McLeod spurned the chance to put them on course for another. But Luton continued to look less than comfortable. Alan Sheehan's up and under causing uncertainty at the back before John Stebb found the space to check Elliot Justum had his angles right. Town's new manager Nathan Jones had hoped for better to follow his first win last week at Mansfield, but this definitely wasn't Luton's day, as former Magpies skipper Sheehan showed by turning Wes Atkinson's cross into his own net. And his old club made the win more emphatic through Stead, who may fast be approaching 33, but can still turn up the turbo when he needs to. Some very encouraging signs for Notts new boss Jamie Fullerton, who's taken 6 points from 9.
Life in the old John Stead legs yet. Here's the table. That result sees Luton fall to 16th, Notts County move up to 14th. York's win over Stevenage, well, it wasn't enough to take them off the bottom of the Football League, but they are now level on points with Dagenham and Redbridge, who did not play earlier. Yeovil are 3 points clear of the drop zone after their win at AFC Wimbledon.
At the top, Northampton weren't in action today, but they stay first after Plymouth failed to take advantage. They lost to Wickham, and Oxford stay third. Bristol Rovers are fourth, but they're now just 2 points clear of Accrington, the team who beat them today. Portsmouth in sixth, Mansfield in the final playoff spot. Thanks again to Chris and to Lee. Good luck for the rest of the season, Lee. We're going to leave you with a team that shipped 11 goals on their previous 2 visits to Yorkshire.